Hello, Baratua, Bakgotsi ba rona, all the Econeters. Welcome to the very first edition, the Blue Table Talk brought to you by Econet. And we start off, Hamonat. It's one of my favorite things to do, to talk to women. So today we just have a couple of women from Econet. We're going to have conversations around being a woman in corporate. We're going to talk about resilience in our daily lives because it's International Women's Day. Welcome to the Blue Table Talk brought to you by Econet. Happy International Women's Day. Kali Bizogi Diteboho Mojahome, and I'm the Marketing Communications Manager here at Econet. I've got some lovely ladies here with me, and I will let them introduce themselves.
Hello, thank you so much. Lebitso la ka ke Relebohile Ferete. I'm the Product and Regulatory Affairs Manager at Econet Telecom Lesotho.
Hi everyone, Kim Masim Sikwane, Econet Telecom Lesotho. I work in the Human Resources Department, Senior Human Resources Business Partner. Thank you.
My name is Portulo and I work in the Company Performance and Analytics Department. Thanks.
So I was reading this quote by Rupi Kaur, and I just wanted to share it with you. We all move forward when we recognize how resilient and striking the women around us are. And I was wondering, Mama Sims, what does resilience mean to you?
Thank you, Meditable. For me, resilience means withstanding adversity. It means being strong and believing in yourself in the midst of challenges, telling yourself that you can do it no matter what. So it's understanding the strength that you have within yourself and knowing that no matter what comes your way, as long as you have courage, as long as you have determination, you can achieve whatever that you want to achieve. So basically, it's knowing that you have the strength to do it and you really can do it. Thank you.
I liked that, understanding the strength within yourself. So, ke a hopola ha ntse ke hola, when you see a girl, a bona mme wa hae a ntse a itlosa lipstick, the next thing you're gonna find that little girl as a utsitse lipstick o sa ntse a itlotsa, right? So hangata we do say children don't only do as you say, but they do as you do. And we grow up as we become, there are those people belong where they set examples for us. So I'm just wondering, who is that person for you?
I think for me, it's especially this one person. I think I have like a number of people I can think of at this point, but there's this one person because she has been through like the most things you can imagine. She's been embarrassed, she's been disappointed, she has also been a disappointment to her family. But she found courage. You know what Messims just said? She found courage to actually get up and do something about that. She did not ignore her past, she did not ignore those disappointments, but she found her way up to the top. I'll say to the top because when you've experienced such things, you feel low, you feel pressed down, you feel like you are up to like nothing in value. But she found courage to get up and she becomes the better person she never thought she could ever be if ever she stayed in the path that she was in. So for me, I think it even resonates with what Messim said about resilience. And that woman is also, yeah, she leads a lot of women forum in Christian community, but it's not only because she's a Christian, but what she went through, it's what any woman could ever go through. It can happen to any one of us, but most of the time they don't find courage to get up. Yet she did. So she's one woman who inspires me a lot to becoming. That means I can become like anything I want to be. Because for her, she didn't have that dream she wanted to achieve, but she just had to create a different story for herself than what she was known for. So I have that inspiring woman in my corners. There are many of them. Just that story for her in particular gets me up all the time, knowing that anything can happen, but what matters is what I do from that position going forward.
I think there's quite a lot to unpack there, and I'm sure you have a story, ma'am. Paul.
Okay. Mine will be more tied with your example. I grew up with a mother who ran an NGO, which is probably the most unstable career prospect that you can choose because your stability depends on your ability to constantly get people who believe enough in you to give you money. So that was my experience growing up. It was watching her work with a very small staff, skill share, manage situations when there weren't funds a particular year, and she had to maybe say, okay, we're going to be earning half what we did last year, this year. So I got to watch her and I got to watch her style of leadership and I got to watch how she managed situations and how she communicated with her people and how she disciplined her people. And I saw a very different approach than what I think I was exposed to when I got to corporate. I saw leadership, a woman's leadership style, which is very, very different from what I am exposed to in corporate. So I carry that with me in a lot of times where I think this is how people would say should be done, how would my mother do it, and then what do I think is best for me in this situation. So she's with me a lot. She makes a lot of my decisions with me, but I've also learned to incorporate my voice into it as well because that was very much who she was. She led with what she felt like, even if it didn't seem like the most strategic, most wise thing at the time. Yeah.
You know, your story reminds me of this. It's not a quote, but Hangat or Rafmana or Hotri, we lead with emotions as women, and we have to be strategic, and everything has to make sense in a, you know. And when you say the leadership style, sometimes you have to tap into that. Yeah, hore, what am I feeling right now? And most times you do find, hore, at the end, the decision you make because of how you felt, trusting that strength within that you're talking about, ufumana rehle is the right decision you had made. That's a nugget. That's a nugget to take home. As much as we look to Batubabang outside of us, I do believe, hore, even as from our own journeys, however unique they may be, we end up becoming our own inspirations in some way. Mama Sims, come through.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I guess me working in the HR department and at some point being a lecturer and also being in learning and development, I've gone through a lot of material, reading material that I've shared with my students and other people in trainings. And it's not only about sharing ideas or material with people, but it's also trying to apply principles in my own life. So, what has been my greatest inspiration has been seeing my students grow into better people, seeing the impact that I've had on employees in almost every organization that I've worked in. So I guess that gives me strength, that inspires me every day to keep going and to keep impacting. So also the feedback that I keep getting regularly from different people in all areas that I've really worked in, all walks of life, has really been an inspiration for me.
Thank you. So I want us to be real, right? I don't want us to sell the story of everything being perfect. We have horrible days. We have good days, but also honala matsatsi a rough, so rough. And we succeed, but also in succeeding we fail. And failure is part of the journey, as painful as it becomes. How would you reflect on that?
For this one, I have a lot to unpack because you know the notion about women and the emotions. About women and the emotions, I think I have been one living example to that. However, I learned this the hard way when I failed on almost everything that I had to do right, but my emotions got into the way. So one of those things would be communication. I'm in the line of work where communication is very imperative. It starts with listening and knowing how to express oneself. And for me, I would fail in most cases to express myself because I'll be challenged and I would feel attacked and I'll respond in defense, making me to fail to express myself the way I would otherwise want to. So I had to learn that because it made me fail on almost important things, that my message will be lost in translation because my emotions got into the way. I laugh at this today, but I learned it the hard way because I got into a managerial position at a young age, and I'm also a female doing the men's job, the lawyer thing. As much as it's regulatory, it's still a lawyer thing. And it really was hard for me. So I navigated my path to where I am today through a lot of failures on the way, which I had to learn from. I think that's the good thing that I learned about my emotions. That means I also learned what to do about it. And if I can just share a little bit, it would be that I had to learn the triggers. When you learn the triggers, you would realize that emotional hijacking is coming at any point, because now I know if I feel attacked, I'll respond in defense. So because I don't want to do that, when I feel the trigger, I then sense the emotional hijacking happening, and then I stay up and take control of the situation. So it would help me to be calmer so that when I respond, I do not respond with my emotions. They are there. I'm not saying I'm no longer an emotional person. I am an emotional person, but I had to learn to work my way around my emotions. So that made me fail in a lot of things because communication is vital, especially where we are working in the corporate business, the corporate world. It's very important. And we as women also get a bad name because of it. It's just that we handle our emotions differently. Everybody's got the emotions. So I had to learn how to handle mine, but it still remains as one of failures that I had to mark and actually know how to work around them.
I get you. Sometimes I have to go to therapy because for me as a woman, I'm very emotional and very sensitive. And also, I would get the triggers because I would say, "Why am I Sometimes I have to go to the bathroom. I don't want to lie. Wipe my face. I come back and we work, right? But I think it's one of those things. We just have to regulate. Yes, feel your feelings, regulate your feelings, and I think you'll attest to that. Yes, Mema seems to that emotional intelligence, because when you know your triggers, you know how to manage them and still show up as a woman in this corporate space. Yeah. I think that's one of the values actually that we can have in navigating our way through careers and all. So, Mempo, what would be your other values as you do life in this corporate space?
I think my most recently discovered value would be doing the work for myself, because if you're seeking external validation, there's a lot of times where I felt like I wasn't doing enough or I wasn't doing particularly well because I was watching all these people around me be successful. So when you're getting positive feedback, but it's not really amounting to anything external, like it's not amounting to that promotion or that pay raise or that award or that something, it tends to be demoralizing, even when you're doing your best, even when you're working hard, even when you're growing and progressing. You may overlook all of those things because you're looking for external factors, external people to be the one who are validating your progress and your success. So I now know that if I did the best report in the best way that I could, and I did it in the best way for the person that I was in that time, that has to count more than the reaction that I'm going to get from the person receiving it. Yes, I'm not necessarily saying, yes, feedback will come. Yes, I will take in feedback. But someone else's opinion or how my work is received is feedback, but it does not amount to the complete worth of my work. It has to be how I feel about it. Yeah.
I think it also goes back to your first question, May, when you said we should define what resilience means. Because for me, it's more like self validation. And, actually having those positive affirmations and the positive self talk that everyone should do. So I guess it's about waking up in the morning and telling yourself that I can do it, I'm capable, and it gives you a sense of self worth. So I think it's quite important. Thanks.
That is important. From my recent meditations, I also do those to keep me grounded. The most recent line that has been ringing was "My steps are ordered," and I'm just reminded when you're speaking, like as much as we are going to trust ourselves, and in that time, because you're always evolving and you're always becoming better, the decisions and the work that we put in at that time is the best that we can. I always walk by Velio Nahor. You know what? Even if I don't know what the end point is, I fully trust my steps are ordered always. And it's okay to trust in the unknown because I always know that my steps are ordered. And as we wrap up, there are women and men watching. And what would you like them to take home as a nugget?
Okay. I think I have I have a very strong personality myself, and it's something that is very rare in women to actually showcase or actually accept about themselves, because you come across being labeled different things. Someone can say you're strong, someone can say you're rude, someone can also say you are disrespectful, while you're being the normal self that you are. I think if that woman that is watching or that man that is watching can just remember that we are individuals, we are different, and we receive a lot of things in different ways. But that doesn't mean I can impose my opinion on you. Freedom of expression says I respect your opinion, but it doesn't mean it is always right. So when you have good intentions, when you do what you know you are supposed to do, and the best way you can, just like you said, the best way you can with the resources you have at that time, no matter the feedback that you will get, no matter the reaction that you will get, be confident in yourself, knowing that you did all you could. I learned something. We discuss this most of the time with Mpo because we talk about work. We are girls. We are girls in corporate. We are learning a lot of things, and most of the time you realize that we don't even have like that close person whom we grew up with who was in corporate. So we learn these things through other people, and most of the time she's always here. And with the advices, with the opinions we get, with the information that we receive, we also do a lot of reading. We find different materials everywhere. There's LinkedIn, there's Harvard Business Review, there's Forbes. You get different materials everywhere. But one thing that I got to learn and actually appreciate about myself is that I accepted and actually learned that the reward that I get about my job does not define the input or the output of my job. I do my best. I put in the best results with the job that I do, but the reward that I'll get, the feedback that I will get, is not the one that will actually tell me that I did the good job. But that self motivation, that strength that I got in myself to say, I'm entrusted to do this. I have what it takes to do this, and I'm going to do my best to do it. Help me, God. And I will definitely do it. And most of the time, it's true, like Mempo said, we get feedback, but we're not waiting for it. Messim said the self inspiration she gets is also realizing the impact that she does, the feedback that she will receive. But I can assure you, that's not the only reason why she does what she does. it's because it's in her. We do it naturally, it's in us. So knowing the strength that you have, knowing that you have what it takes to do what you're entrusted to do, and knowing that the tools that you have at that time, you can actually release the best results that you can get with those tools, and actually doing the actual work. It's all that you need to get up every day, do what you can do, and then go back to sleep in peace. And this is another way that maybe for me it helps me to protect and take care of my mental health. I am a therapy girl, trust me. I do a lot of therapy because most of the time you'd think people do therapy when they are anxious, when they have depression. I don't wait for that. I check in, like doing like a checkup to say I want to know how I'm doing. These are my thoughts at this point, and maybe I'll even be able to channel them, because with the strength that we have, sometimes it we feel like something is about to burst, and if we cannot channel it, it gets out of control because we are smart. Like I said, we are individuals, we have different strengths and weaknesses, so sometimes channeling them, it's important. So for me, therapy does that's the trick. So for that person watching and wondering how we get up, it's not because we are the most self-confident people, it's because we realize that strength. That is what motivates us to be resilient, because we know we have what it takes and we actually get the job done. I always say I'm the girl for the job. I'm the woman for the job. I'm the girl that I think I am, and I actually get the job done.
Yes, we'll put it in quotes and place it on a wall somewhere where we see it every day. You're the woman for that job and you're capable. Your last words?
We're gonna do opposite. We're gonna do different ends of the spectrum here because I'm very much the opposite. I am what a typical introvert, and that does not always play well in corporate. So, unfortunately, my fellow introverts, we're gonna have to be brave a little bit. You are. I don't know that you necessarily have to speak up in every single meetings, but you have to decide what is important to you, what are the key things in your work, in your space, what are the things that you are going to have to stand up for. Not everything needs to be fought about. If fine if they want free coffee or not, but if they're making a substantial change to something that you firmly believe in, and then you're going to let that happen without your voice being heard, they may not take it on. And that's not a failure. The failure is in not trying at all. The failure is there thinking, is there keeping yourself small or making yourself small? Because the the prospect of talking is scary. Just say what you need to say, because more often than not, they don't need to accept it, they don't have to take it on. However, you will have spoken up for yourself. And that becomes something that's a skill. You have to practice it to actually grow it and learn it, and then it'll become easier. And again, you do not have to become an introvert. I am never going to be able to walk into a room and what and yes, and be the loudest person or be the most enthusiastic person. I fully understand what my personality is, and I have fully accepted and come into my strength as an introvert or as a more quiet spoken person, that it does not mean that I'm a walkover, because trust me, trust me, and everyone who's ever had to deal with me in a point of contention, that is not what I am. I have learned and had to learn very early on because of the nature of the job that I was in before I started doing the analysis stuff, that you have to speak up when things are important to yourself. You have to speak up when you believe that things will bring value to the company, and it's a perspective that someone may not have seen and no one will know because you will have said nothing. So don't make yourself small. You're allowed to not become the loudest person in the room, but you still have to be someone who speaks up in the room. Take space, be present, be loud when it's important to you. And then you'll be able to be loud all the time when you want to be. You want to have that skill so that you can use it. grow yourself, be uncomfortable. Is I guess is my takeaway.
Okay, I'm actually glad that you mentioned taking up space because that for me is key. I think for me, it's knowing that you're created for good works. You are here for a reason. Medite was said, our steps are ordered. So it's believing in yourself, believing in your potential, and knowing that you're not a mistake. Developing yourself, reading, finding a mentor, having peers, people whom you can discuss issues with, and just knowing that you have potential like everybody else. So, my message to everyone is that you're here for a reason. So, remember, take up space. And Khale Willie said, I'm the girl that I think I am. And indeed, I am. So, yeah, thanks.
There's nothing more to add. There is absolutely nothing. The nuggets you dropped. The nuggets you dropped. Thank you so much, ladies. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you.